Hey Kid Space, it's me Casey coming at you again on this fine Wednesday evening. I'm assuming it's Wednesday or whatever day it is that you are watching this. Anyways, I'm here in my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making some tie-dye naturally with beets. A lot of coloring that's in clothes or even in food is actually artificial. So it's made in a lab, and while labs aren't a bad thing, it's also nice to know that all these dyes can also be sourced from simple food products that you might have around in your kitchen, such as beets. So the materials for today's activity are going to be beets. I cut these up. This came from two different beets, so I've cut each one to be about that size. Some regular household distilled vinegar, whatever clothes or fabric you want to dye. Make sure that you're using cotton or something natural because artificial materials won't dye as well. This is a t-shirt. And then you're going to need 2 pots. All right, so what I did is I took the beets and put it in a pot. And now it's boiling on the stove, as you can see, with some water. And we're gonna let that boil for about an hour. Let's do an hour. And what I also did is I took my shirt and my socks that I want to dye, and I also put those in a pot, like right there. So with this pot, you have to do something a little differently. You have to put the vinegar in with the water, and you have to do a proper ratio of vinegar to water. And what I would suggest is doing about 1 part vinegar to 4 cups water. So I did 12 cups of water. So do you know how many cups of vinegar I might have done? I'll give you a second. I did 3 cups of vinegar because 12 divided by 4 is 3. All right, and I'm going to let both those sit for about an hour and let them boil. And once they start to boil, actually, I'm going to turn it down so they simmer and come back to this in about an hour and do the next step. All right. Welcome back. So it's about an hour later, and what I did is I poured the water out from the clothes, aka t-shirt, Save the Bees socks. I poured that water out. It was really hot, so be very careful when you're pouring it into the sink. Have your parents or guardian help you. After that, what I did is I grabbed a spoon with a nice hole in it, and I scooped out all the beets from this pot, and I ate them. I ate all of them. But what we have left is this dye that's really good. So look how potent that is. Anyways, what I'm going to do is pour that into this pot with all of the clothes. Whoa, it's already doing its magic. So with the dye in here, you're gonna want to roll up your sleeves, get ready for the real deal, and you're gonna soak up all this dye into the clothes with your hands. Make sure it's not too hot. I let this cool down a little bit so it's still bearable for my hands. Alright, so what I did is I kind of soaked the t-shirt and the socks with the dye, and what I did is I left little parts that were not as, like this little part, it's a little more white, and I think that'll look cool. It'll come out kind of tie-dye. So now what we got to do is we have to let this soak for 12 to 24 hours. So let's just do it overnight. So once you're all done with that and the 24 hours has elapsed, you're going to wring out the excess liquid from the clothing, and you can get rid of that liquid because it's all done. And now you need to dry the clothing, so you can either hang it up in the sun or you can put it in your clothing dryer that you might have at home. If you don't have one at home, then you can use the sun. And that'll really set the dye in there, and then once it dries out, the dye will be really kind of stuck in there, and it'll be a really cool color on your new shirt or socks or beach towel, whatever it might be. I'm really excited to see how it turns out for all of you. This was a fun project for me because I'd never done anything like this before. And it's cool because natural dyes are totally natural. I got to use the beets to make a cool dye, and then I got to eat them. So it was like getting a tie-dye on a new shirt and also eating a snack. So think about it that way. It's a double feature. I'll see you next week. Thanks again, KidSpace. Goodbye.